The Queens of Spice podcast is created for adult audiences only. It contains cursing, vulgar content, dark humor, descriptions of sexual acts and desires, and is not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Some episodes may also contain subjects that are triggering for listeners. Please take care of yourself.
Ask him over to egg my nog.
Welcome to the Queens of Spice podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ragachu, and I'm here with my smut peddler, Ashton. Hi, Ash.
Hi.
How's it going?
Living the dream, my friend. Living the dream.
Amazing. We are talking about a book called Limerence today, and Ashton is going to tell me about it. So buckle up, kiddos.
Yeah.
So Ash, please go ahead and fill me in about this book I've never read before.
So first I'll say limerence is described as the state of being infatuated or obsessed with another person, typically experienced involuntarily and characterized by a strong desire for reciprocation of one's feelings, but not primarily for a sexual relationship. That is the definition I found on the interwebs.
It's funny because I want to for some reason it reminds me of the word limerick, which is like, you know, a poem of some sort, and it's just not that at all.
No, it is pining.
Yeah, I've never heard this word before, so I'm very fascinated about where we're going with this, so please continue.
So essentially this book is about two ballet dancers. They've both had kind of tragic backstories to them. One has been out of the scene for a bit, and he has come back. He's coming back after the tragic loss of his mentor of sorts, and he's being brought back into the London Ballet where Felix, which is one of our main characters, is dancing, and he's kind of like the best dancer there. He's kind of a shit, but he's really good at what he does. Very like attention seeking, all those kinds of things. In the meantime, Nico, who has been out of the game for a while, he's kind of infatuated with Felix, we come to find out.
Go on.
Felix is left in a state of feeling threatened by Nico, so he doesn't like Nico, and Nico is kind of seen as being cold and aloof and all of those things. And it's written by Scarlett Drake. She wrote, oh my god, I'm going to say this wrong, Hemorrhagia, which is, it's the first book in this series, the Famous Young Thing series.
Are they like connected, or is it just like a universe thing?
It's a universe thing. So as you get into the book, they start to mention the characters from the first book. So one's a rock star and one's a K-pop star, which is kind of fun.
I see how this is going. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the characters aren't in the book, but there's mentions of characters in the book and the things that are kind of going down. The characters aren't in the book, but there are mentions of the characters in the book.
Yeah, so like university.
Yeah. She also wrote a book called Oleander, which is a great expectations retelling, which was...
Oh, I've heard of that book.
Fucking fantastic.
Yeah, okay.
I ranted about it.
Okay. I was going to say, I've heard about it apart from you even, which is wild. So...
Well, it was one of the books that I was reading while when we got Wesley, and so I was like staying up through all evenings when he was having diarrhea issues reading this book while I was...
Wesley's a dog for those the home listeners, in case that wasn't clear.
And he went through a period of like rocket ass. The book starts with Felix out for a birthday dinner with his Miranda, which is his kind of stepmother. And it's funny because his father picks the same place every year to take him out to dinner, but he never shows up. And lo and behold, his father does not show up again because he's sort of a dick. He's also a member of like Parliament of sorts, so that does become important later.
This is based in the UK, you said, right? Like it's in London?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in the UK. Cool. So Felix is checking out the waiter because that's how he do.
As one does.
Yeah, right. When Miranda goes to take a call and it's Felix's dad, so she's giving him shit and kind of leaves Felix to do his thing. And the banter in this book is pretty fantastic. Felix says, see, it's my birthday and my father didn't make it again. So now I sort of want to get fucked roughly by somebody who will let me call them daddy.
Oh my God.
Which it gives you kind of
what
an insight into, yeah, right. So they go back and forth about like when the waiter's off, blah 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 blah, and he's like, essentially the waiter gets off early so they can fuck. And then the next day, Felix's roommate, Ava, who is like this delightful Irish ballet dancer, basically calls her out on taking the hot waiter home. And you get like little pieces of like his mindset where like his cock wasn't glorious, but his ass was fantastic. You know, things like that. And like you're really getting an idea for their relationship. Ava hates Felix's dad, which is like no surprise. And you kind of like, he lives in this house that he inherited, and you get this whole idea about how like Felix is paid really well by the LBC, which is the London Ballet Company, but the place he lives in was his grandfather's, so when his mom died she left it to him, as well as like all of her fortune. But his dad still throws money at him because he doesn't really know what else to do with Felix.
Yeah, that's how he shows love.
Yeah, so you know, it's super healthy. And it's like, eventually though, I realized there wasn't anything I could do to make him give a shit about me. Bad behavior was rewarded in the exact same way good behavior or good grades were. Apathy and then money. Like, oof. Super healthy, right? Felix has this thing where he gives a lot of himself, so he comes across as like super cocky and callous, but like Ava lives there for free because they're besties. So they're hanging out and doing their thing. And when she's scrolling through her phone and she finds out that, she reads that Nico Savini, which is the other main character, is coming back. And he's in talks with 5 other ballet companies. And they're not sure, like, would he go to LBC? Because I think he was in Rome before.
Do you get any indication of their age in this?
They're in their 20s.
Okay. I was going to say, like, ballet dancers tend to be kind of younger, right?
Early to mid 20s. And the thing with Nico is, like, he's the youngest dancer to ever be offered a role in a major company at, like, 17. They go into, like, when he started, and which I'll get into and all that stuff. And I think Nico is, like, a little under 25 and Felix is maybe 21. I could be wrong though. It's around those ages. They're not super old. Yeah, so they're talking about whether or not Ben, who is like he runs the LBC, would never do that, but Felix has been kind of a pain in the ass to him lately. But at the same time, Ben should know that Felix and Nico would like kill each other. And it's kind of a thing too, because like there's only one ballet dancer in the world that's better than Felix, and that would be Nico. Mm-hmm. This is one of those books that switches around perspectives too. So you're getting like Nico and you're getting Felix, or Felix and then Nico. So when it switches to Nico's perspective, we find out how much he hates London, but he wants to go out dancing with the best. So,
I see. Okay.
Yeah. He also like secretly loves to stalk Felix's Instagram, as you do.
So like secret crush, is that what's going on here?
Oh, like desperately. It's so fantastic. Yeah. It's like, and it's funny too, because like, he's going on about like, his mindset, he's like, everyone's a rival, blah, 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 blah. But like, he stalks Felix's Insta, but he like hates his overt sexuality because Felix is like in your face gay kind of thing. But why would he hate that? Like, why would that be a thing? He hates Felix's face, his smile, because it's sickeningly perfect. And then you get like, does he wear that mindless grin when he gets fucked? Because he clearly is the one that gets fucked. Like things like that. Even though Nico's been off for about a 2-year hiatus, he's been dancing this entire time. And he kind of expects that the people at the LBC are going to expect him to be out of shape. He's got this insane drive that is a really big part, and you find out why later, which is like not shocking once you do find out. But he's left his family who are in like Italy, and because he's Italian, he's gotten a little bit closer with his sister over the years, because classic like macho Italian male family members and whatever. But he gets calls from his sister quite frequently. Her name is Porzia, I think, and she has a son named Oro, and while he was off, he spent time with them. So she's not super happy that he left, despite like him telling her that he'd never leave again after he came back from America.
So he was dancing in America before?
Yeah, because of his mentor, Sergio Sena. He was a coach, Nico's coach, and he got signed on with him really, really early on. He was dancing in America, and then he came back and he was dancing for Rome. I can't remember if he was in Rome or America when he stopped, but anyway, he had danced for America and he danced for the Roman ballet. Nico is here in London, hates it here, fantastic. You get a little bit of Felix barging in on Ben, calling him out on hiring Nico, and threatens to leave and all this stuff, because diva.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so too. Like, he worked really hard to get where he's at. And the one thing that he is passionate about, despite being seen as being super flaky, is his dance. And his big concern is like, is he just going to give Nico the lead? Like, why would Nico come to LBC if he wasn't just going to be given the lead, right?
Why indeed?
Yeah, right. I don't do well sharings. I don't do threesomes for that reason. I'm the main event. Yeah, right? Like, this is what I mean. Like, there's so many great quotes, and like the banter between the two of them is fucking fantastic. Like, I think at one point Nico has Felix in his phone as Princess Peach.
Oh my God.
So basically, Felix puts it into his mind at this point, like, he is going to make Nico's life a living hell so that he wants to leave. And the thing with Felix too is like, he's always late for class and all. Like, their choreographer and their teacher Fen is always super annoyed by it. So they're in class and Ben comes in to announce about Savini joining them, and basically there's this whole thing. They do a charity gala, and so the charity gala is going to basically decide who gets the lead role. And in there's lots of speculation to the whys and hows of Nico, which is like all that back thought. Another whole part of this thing is Felix has kind of a side piece. He gets a text from this guy Christian about his birthday present. And Christian.
Tell me about Christian, Ashton.
Well, okay, so Christian happens to be one of Felix's father's friends. He's also in Parliament.
Oh, I see. Carry on.
Yeah. The author was really good here because they really made sure to make it known that, like, Felix wasn't groomed in any of this. Like, their relationship developed after he had come back. I think he was in Russia, and like, he was older, and there was never anything like nefarious about it. Like, they were both consenting adults when it happened. So as he's getting the text from Christian, he's in the locker room and he runs into Nico, and there's this talk about, like, there's all this banter and like the rumors that Nico has slept with over 100 ballerinas and da 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 da.
So does Nico kind of like come off as straight? Like, is that
as far as anybody knows, Nico's straight, because Nico had a girlfriend, Sophia Winter, I think her name was, and they allegedly broke up because Nico cheated on her, and like, there's a lot of assumption there, which is kind of delightful. Like, Nico is a very private and like non-assuming character. You'd really like him too, because Nico's in therapy.
Love to see it. Go to therapy.
There's a little bit of like, in the whole banter piece, like whatever, there's a lot of like thought about how Nico was trained to be good, but Felix was born to dance. So like, they come at it from very different aspects of their dance. And then beyond that, we get into like that. Actually, the very next thing it goes into is how Nico is in therapy. And here you find out a little bit more about his family dynamic, how his mom died when he was 16, how he's a little closer with his sister. He had gone to America with his mom to dance because he had been so good. And you get kind of pieces of like, through his meeting with this new therapist, because he was referred by his old therapist, because he moved, obviously, you get an idea of like what that there is some trauma and maybe some of the underlying feelings towards Felix. And you also get a bit of a flashback about Nico watching Felix dance and how, he's beautiful and boys shouldn't be beautiful. And at this point, Felix is 13 and Nico is 15, and you really get an idea of how, like, what a dick Sergio actually is.
Dude, do you know what this book is reminding me of?
What?
Is that hockey book we read.
Gravity?
Yes, it reminds me of Gravity.
A little bit.
Just the dynamics and like kind of like this kind of quiet admiration, I guess. It's very... Yes. It's interesting. And
I can see where you get that. Only it's like backwards.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And I mean, in that book, the main character didn't have like a mentor that beat him kind of thing.
Right. Okay. So we're getting there.
Yeah. So even when Nico does well, Sergio berates him all the same and like slaps him. I don't think he ever like outwardly beats the tar out of him. I think it's just more like slapping kind of thing.
Just casual abuse. Just a little.
Yeah, casual abuse. Little light abuse. No big deal.
Still not okay.
And he never praises Nico. Like, never.
Of course. Yeah.
And of course, this is kind of like where Nico meets Felix. And then you get, then you jump back into present day and you learn that You learn about Christian, who he is and what he's about and how they kind of met, like, and how things are going and You also find out that Ava hates that Christian and Felix are sleeping together. And basically at one point she's like, oh, he's rung the bell, has he? Because he's an older gentleman that works with Felix's father. He's widowed. He has a son that's Felix's age. So it's kind of like a little sketch.
I appreciate Ava in this notion, though.
100%. I mean, if any of our friends were to be in a relationship with an older person who, like, they would have known when they were younger, there are questions that would come up. And I think it's a matter of, like, understanding the hows and whys of it to a certain degree, right? And I think the big thing too is, like, he's in the closet and they aren't exclusive. So it's just fucking, and it gets to the point where, like, Felix can fuck whoever he wants. The only thing is he has to tell Christian about it. Christian comes across as kind of a douchebag character, but he does, like, he is a good character. Like, he is a decent guy for what he is, I guess, would be the big thing. Like,
he's the most decent politician that he can be.
Well, that is important later.
Go on.
That does become important later. But their whole thing is, like, if Felix ever falls in love, that's fine. Like, he's never going to keep him. There's a quote, he wasn't the first guy whose dick I sucked, but he was the first guy who made me realize how much I wanted to suck a guy's dick. Which, I mean, is kind of like, so he obviously had a crush on Christian when he was like 15, but like nobody ever acted on anything. They meet up, they do the sex. Felix calls him daddy. Ugh. Christian calls him his beautiful boy, as Felix is telling him about being fucked by somebody else. And in the background, the TV plays a clip of Felix's dad talking about stuff, which is super fun.
God. Just the worst.
You're right? Like, hey, look, there's my dad on the TV.
Hate that for him.
Well, but I mean, the fuck you to his dad is also a big part of this, right? So afterwards, Felix is telling Christian about Nico and his plan to make his life a living hell when Christian asks, like, straight out, like, are you attracted to Nico? And I mean, there's thoughts like, why would this, like, why? But, yeah, okay, but, like, why fuck it up with a pesky little thing like love? Like, so, things progress, blah, blah, blah. Dancers going out for an evening, invite Nico along, and he declines and hooks up with somebody off of an app instead. So, this is the first time you get, like, confirmation that he does like guys and, hooks up with guys. So here we get some context about the dancers and their dynamics and, like, a bit of information about the charity gala and, like, their dance choices, because they get to choose which dance they want to do. And you also get an invite from Ava to Nico to Felix's birthday party.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Go Ava.
So yeah, right? But I mean, also like, Ava kind of, like, finds him attractive too.
Also, I should say too that, like, I'm convinced, I don't know if it's much of a stretch, that, like, pretty much anyone that works in the arts, like theater, dance, any of that stuff, most of them are bisexual. Like, let's be fair, at least.
I don't know that it necessarily gives that vibe one way or the other, but I mean, I understand where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's just an openness.
You're right. I don't want to say higher consciousness thing, but it's definitely, like, people are just more open and honest with each other.
And it's funny you say that, because you definitely, like, Felix definitely thinks at some point that Nico is just being, like, hyper masculine and super, like, homophobic.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So that I mean,
that's a closeted kind of scenario. Like, that's
100%. Yeah. Especially when you think that, especially when everybody thinks that he's straight, right? And it's hard too, because, like, Felix feels like Nico has always gotten the things that Felix has wanted, like to work with Sergio, and how he ended up going to Russia before coming back to London because Nico had gotten the placement that he had wanted. And okay, fine, Nico is attractive. This is like the whatever. And then amongst all this too, like, because Nico has come onto this ballet group, they're going to do a photo shoot. So there's this photo shoot, there's lots of banter, sexual tension, backstory about how they met each other, blah, 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 all that stuff. And, like, this is where you start to see, like, admiration for each other.
Mm.
And after everything is said and done, Felix does end up inviting Nico to his birthday and flippantly tells Nico that he hates him, which then becomes a thing between them. Like, Felix is always telling Nico that he hates him.
Of course. Yeah.
And then you get this really adorable scene where Nico calls his sister because he needs help dressing.
I love this.
It's so sweet. This is, in fact, the truth. I do hate people. I hate Felix too. It just so happens that I'm in love with them at the same time, which isn't something I'd recommend to anybody who likes to be likes being sane. Like, So great.
You love a love-hate relationship.
100%. I'm like, love to hate. At the party, Nico's watching Felix with another man. There's another character, Charlie.
Gotta make each other jealous, of course.
Right. Well, and it's not even like he doesn't even know that he's making him jealous.
Yeah.
This is where you also get Charlie, who is another dancer, and you know, Ava's like, he's not allowed any more punch. Like, he can't hold his liquor. He gets loud and tells Nico he hates. So he gets loud and tells Nico that everyone hates him. Felix is having fun with all the mans. And Nico just wants to leave because he's like, I don't need to see this. So he and Ava actually end up going to get food. She thinks it's a date. And the next morning, Felix is mad because he thinks Nico might be a homophobe. Because, like, he was reacting. He's, like, run into Felix while he was, like, giving a birthday blowjob or whatever the case may be. Great. Homophobic. Huzzah. Their paths cross before class in the practice room. Nico watches Felix dance, which is like something he loves to do. Then you get more therapy. And this is like the first time you get the mention of the Dead Poets, which is the band that the guy is in from the other books. So like there's a lot, there's the crossover that you get. And so he's running with Ava and they end up at their apartment, and he ends up like being super sneaky and steals one of Felix's pictures off of the like fridge.
Like a picture of Felix?
Yeah. Like,
Amazing.
He's like, oh, hey, there's this picture of Felix. And while all this is happening, Felix is fucking Christian and thinking of Nico. And Christian calls Felix out for liking Nico, but Felix can't stop ranting about Nico. So, you know, there's that whole thing is building up. So Nico's in his flat when he gets home after everything's said and done with Christian. And that's when Felix's dad shows up. And there's this really horrible interaction, which kind of leaves Nico confused. And in that, when Ava comes down afterwards, she's like, she lets it slip that she's surprised that Felix came home because he usually goes straight to practice after getting dicked down, which is super fun. And Nico's like, great. Then we get more of like how much Nico hates ballet and actually hates ballet, and like Sergio is the reason, and he did it because of his mother to make the family sacrifice worth it kind of thing. And if I stop, maybe I'll stop being all together kind of feeling. So he's like, this is the only thing I'm worth. Felix is watching him dance and he calls him out on Ava and like that kind of dynamic, but then Nico calls him a princess, which is fantastic. Because that starts the whole like them calling each other princesses, or sorry, not them calling each other, Nico calling Felix a princess, which is fantastic.
Would you say Princess Peach was in his phone?
It's in his phone.
Brilliant.
Then there's the gala, and you find out that Charlie actually owes Felix a lot of money because like Felix is really generous with his friends. Ava's trying to decide if she's going to call it off with Nico because she's getting mixed messages. But you know, Felix ends up blessing them and being like, it's okay if you want to do it.
Do you think this is one of those situations where Nico is kind of hanging out with Ava just to get close to Felix? Is that what's going on here?
I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily got that vibe. I think it was more like a lot of the dancers aren't like super friendly because Felix isn't friendly and Ava's being friendly. So it's that because he's not intending to lead her on. You do get that information later.
Okay. It's like an olive branch.
Yeah, I also like he's going to work really closely with these people, right? Like dancing is kind of intimate. So I imagine to some degree or another, it's nice to have somebody being friendly with you.
Yeah, totally.
And then Charlie goes and kisses Felix and it's all dramatic, and Ben and Nico walk in. Bleh. Then they're at the gala. They have to do the dances, right? So you have this kind of like heartbreaking moment where Nico dances and thinks about what would happen if he screwed up. Because he's free to screw up. He's free to not be perfect because he didn't have that before. It's just, his relationship with dance is just so tragic.
Trauma.
And he ends up having to work the room afterwards. And he ends up meeting Christian and Felix's father when he realizes who Christian is, which is also like, huzzah, great. And he's like, he's just going to leave. Like, he's not like, I don't want to do this. So he sees Ava coming and he's like, fuck, like I really don't want to do this. So he like avoids Ava and he slips into a random room. And when he slips into a random room, he hears some noises and some stuff. And he sees Felix blowing Christian.
There it is.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, it's a twofer because he doesn't want to see it because he likes Felix, obviously. But also it brings up some issues for Nico because of the power dynamic. He ends up making a comparison between Christian and Felix and Nico and Sergio. Even though with Sergio, it wasn't like sexual.
But there's still a level of control there and like power dynamic, like I said. Yeah.
And he's worried that Felix was groomed, so he gets drunk. And then
why would you face your actual demons? Just go get drunk.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he has been in therapy, so he is above any of them. He is the one that's doing it right.
That's fair.
So Felix ends up confronting Nico, and like, you can't tell anybody, and he basically calls Nico out for being a homophobe, and Nico's like, I think Nico says something along the lines of like, you're not looking hard enough if like that's what you think, and then he like leaves. And there's a moment in the rain, and then they kiss, and then sexy times. But like, never again. They're never gonna have sex again. They only do.
Of course they're not. Yeah, it's the one. Get it out of your system.
Yep.
Let's get all these emotions out.
Yeah, just bone once, be done. And then afterwards, you get a kind of cute scene where like Nico cooks for Felix because Felix can't cook.
What do you make him?
I think it was like a noodle dish.
Okay, love noodles.
Like a ramen-y noodle dish, maybe. And Felix is like looking through Nico's apartment, and you find out like Nico likes photography, and they have a bit of a conversation about Christian.
Is that why you stole the photo of him?
No, yeah. I like to take your picture through the window. Not that kind of photography. So eventually, Felix does end up calling Christian to tell him like Nico won't say anything, and they get kind of short with one another, and you find out that Christian actually has a date with a woman, which cues thoughts of relationship and blah 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 blah. Afterwards, Felix ends up going to Charlie's house to have a conversation about the kiss, and Charlie's place is like freezing, and Felix makes an issue about calling the landlord and all this stuff, but Charlie's phone is dead, so Felix ends up giving him his phone to use, which is important. And he ends up going to get food because Charlie doesn't have anything, which is kind of a stand-in, like, poor Charlie, but also fuck Charlie. When they finally get to the point where they're going to announce the leads for this play, super tension, drum roll, oh my God. So Nico gets to be the lead and Felix, because they're doing an original piece called The Song of the Iliad, and it's the love story of Achilles and Patroclus, the first queer ballet, which is a huge deal because it's the first time in the big 5 ballet companies. Huzzah.
I love to see it. Perfect.
Right? Well, and
no
it
notes.
I
said no notes. This is great.
Well, and it very much has that like Song of Achilles kind of feel to it, right?
Yeah, beautiful.
We get more therapy, and more Felix, where maybe they can fuck again because tension from dancing, and it's why Nico fucked all those ballerinas, right?
Right. Obviously.
Right.
100%.
But they need ground rules.
Of course.
No one can know.
No one can know.
No one can ever know.
If you're gonna date other people or fuck other people, you have to tell each other.
I don't know that that's a rule. Never on LCB grounds.
Yeah, right. How long does that last?
I mean, spoilers. Nico wants to ask Felix not to fuck anybody else, but Felix is basically, that's a no-go. Right? So because this is a big thing and it's new, instead of like doing a Christmas showcase, they end up helping out the juniors. This is the point where you find out Felix is in Nico's phone as Princess Peach. They have a Christmas dinner where the company finds out that where Nico finds out that Felix volunteers at shelters on Christmas Day, and every year he buys presents for kids at a local battered children and women's center. So maybe he's not the biggest douche ever. They go dancing after dinner, and then they have some smexy times in the bathroom. Huzzah.
They go dancing like at a club?
Yeah. They go dancing at a club, and then they fuck in the bathroom. Fantastic.
Also gross, but love it.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's not me, but...
yeah, I would never, but that's okay.
Have fun. So Christmas, Felix ends up at Christian's, and Christian asks him if he's sleeping with Nico. You kind of have this moment where it's a little touching, I guess, where Christian decides he's going to take a step back so Felix can have what he wants.
Yup.
I kind of love this. I quoted it, and it's like, "You're not in love with me, Felix," says Christian confidently, "and you've never asked for anything more from me because it's not what you want. I'm not what you want, not for the rest of your life. Now you're frightened because you think I'm going to disappear like all the other things have in the past, but I'm not. I promise you that I'm not. I'm right here, your biggest supporter for as long as you want me. It's why I want this for you. I want you to be happy, darling. To experience what it's like to be fully and completely in love, to be with somebody who cherishes you and treats you how you deserve, someone who shares you with the world and shares the world with you, not someone who keeps you a secret from it." And so, like...
That's very self-reflective.
Well, and you want to think that Christian's this, like, dirty old bastard because he's fucking Felix on the sly, but, like, he's actually a decent human.
Yeah.
which is like sad to a point because you're like, I want to dislike you, but
He's like he's playing the like I'm not your real dad situation, but
well, I understand why you are this way, but also like which is
fine.
also
I
important.
guess we can like him. Ugh, I don't wanna.
Right? In the meantime, Nico is home with his family, but he
Home in Italy, is it?
yeah.
Cool.
He ends up on the phone with Felix, who admits that he's spending the evening on his own watching Love Actually, which is the best Christmas movie ever, which I agree with. And Nico isn't out, but Felix realizes that he likes him all the same. Oh no, how dare he?
What a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, right. So he's spending Christmas by himself. Ask him over to egg my nog.
I'm
so
using it, thank you.
Right? I don't know why I put that quote in there, but I thought you'd like it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I
He
feel
ends
seen.
up being woken up at midnight, and Nico is holding this notebook. I don't know if you've seen Love Actually, but that's actually what happens in Love Actually. The guy is holding a notebook with like words on it, answering the question, "What would you do if you were here?" And it's like a detailed drawing of them fucking.
Jesus.
Which they do. And, the next morning, the truth comes out about Nico and Sophia. They were never actually together, but they were friends, and it was complicated, fake dating, blah, blah, blah. Sexually never there, like, together. They were friends, and it was complicated, blah, But they pretended for one another's careers. And eventually she found out that Nico liked men, and she felt betrayed, so he broke his own rule and brought a guy back.
Oh. So were they like full on living together and stuff? Like
Sophia and Nico? Yeah.
Okay.
So Nico ends up staying until New Year's Eve, and then he leaves, and Ava and Charlie go out with Felix, and they spend all the time together. But you get into the practice now, so Felix isn't really performing well, which ends up causing him like a lot of issues. So Ben ends up reading him the riot act, about giving him all this opportunity and to tell him what's going on, but he can't tell him what's going on. He's too in his head. Nico finds him like constantly practicing, and then they fight, of course, and then they fuck.
What did they fight over?
Just, I think it's had to do with like what's going on with Felix, like where his head's at and that kind of stuff. And this is, I think, where they fuck in the like on LBC property, and then they have a curry and they chat.
They have a curry?
A curry, yeah.
Amazing. I love a curry.
Right? So Nico tells Felix about his hiatus and how he wasn't sure if he would miss dancing and all that kind of stuff. And how he was basically hit every day for 4 years by Sergio. And then Felix does his own coming clean about how he feels about Nico and how it's fucking with his head. And Nico basically offers to help Felix. And Felix takes him up on it to deal with dance and now worry about the rest later kind of thing. Like, he wants Nico to be more strict about not coming over when he calls. Basically, like, help him to be more regimented, which is great. Nico does start to help Felix, and Felix starts to improve. You get more little things like Nico has a good talk with Sophia, and they start to become friends again. But then eventually he sees Felix with Christian after Felix told him he was supposed to be with his dad, which is a whole thing. And Ava and Felix have a conversation when he's home about how he and Christian are over, and there's some like background political stuff going on at this time too, like the prime minister is stepping down, or like they're thinking about the prime minister stepping down, and Christian could in fact be the next prime minister.
But he's got some skeletons in his closet.
We're getting there. So Felix goes to have a bath, and Nico ends up leaving Felix on red because he was upset about seeing him with Christian and knowing that he got lied to. But like when he wakes up the next morning, Felix wakes up the next morning, his phone is like fucked, it's gone off like no one's business. It's Christian, people know about them. Felix swears Ava would never like say anything, but Christian doesn't think it's Ava because, but who else knew? And they have like, because whoever found out about them has proof. They have WhatsApp transcriptions and pictures. So who would have the motive, right? Like,
who has his phone?
Well, yeah, but who would have the motive? And like clearly the only post.
Who needs the money?
Yeah, case in point, right? But clearly it's Nico. So Nico wakes up to
Nico would never, please,
right? Because Nico is just a baby angel,
and he's in love, and he would never do that to him,
right?
Yes,
but like foreshadowing. And hindsight's 2020. Why would Charlie do it?
Why would Charlie do it, Ashton?
I know. So Nico wakes up to Felix hammering on his door, and Felix is yelling at Nico about how he's a lying bastard, and then leaves, and Nico goes to his house. So Nico goes to Felix's house, and he's not there, and he tells Ava what's going on, and Ava kind of has this moment where she's like, fuck. book, and she realizes who actually did it.
Uh-huh.
So Felix goes to his father after this, and his father is cruel but not shocked, because lo and behold, it was Charlie who brought the information to Felix's father for money. And his father then used it to make Christian think the press had it and to force him to step down. Because it turns out that Ava told Charlie when she was drunk, and Felix ends up kicking Ava out. Nico has given him the weekend, and Felix is late for practice on Monday. When he shows up, he ends up punching Charlie in the face.
Oh, damn.
Right? Which ends up landing him kicked out. There's a conversation then about like what both Felix and Nico want, as one does. More sex. I just have like sex.
You gotta get that tension out. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you gotta. Yep.
Fair. Where Nico tells Felix he's going to talk to Ben. He like basically threatens to fake an injury and he'll only come back to dance if Felix is there. And if not, he's going to retire at the end of the year anyway, which is kind of a shock to everybody. Felix's father shows up to give Felix shit. He ends up hitting Felix. Nico steps in because Nico is amazing.
Yeah.
Nico talks to Ben the next day, and Nico threatens basically to quit. Ben says he'll be in breach of contract, at which point Nico points out that in his contract it says that he basically put a clause in where he wanted to dance in a production where Felix got the lead, and there's this back and forth between him and Ben agrees to talk to the board, but it would sweeten the pot if Nico agreed to give them one more year. So when he comes home, Felix is making pancakes, which are not great. But Christian shows up and says he's been offered a new job as the ambassador to the United States. So they're basically like getting him out, and which is the stand because like in the whole discussion with Felix's father, he's going on about how Christian's too good to be in politics, and he's basically they can't manipulate him the way that they would want to.
Right, of course.
So they do eventually make it to opening night. They're doing it. They're doing the thing.
Sex or the dancing?
The dancing. They're doing the dancing. Okay. So Ben comes to Felix after and praises Felix, and they have a conversation about how, like, what Nico had said and done, and how Nico was the deciding factor in not letting Felix go. And this is where Felix tells Nico he loves him. Oh, adorable. And then we get a cute little epilogue in Italy where they're discussing the future and meeting a family, and Sophia shows up, and it's all cute, and Sophia lets it slip about the Felix clause, and so Nico has to explain to Felix what happened and how he got there. And
amazing.
That's the thing. Fantastic.
Happily ever after.
Happily ever after. So sweet. It's so good. And now I think I have to read you the sexy times.
Yes, please do. If you have some sexy times you like to read, I would love to hear about it. Also, bonus points if you want to read it in that voice that you read the littles about. I don't think you have to, and I mean, maybe the tone's not right in this case.
I don't think the tone is right in this case.
That's disappointing. We'll have to revisit that at some point.
Read a dirty one, a weird one.
Yeah.
All right. You heard, this is from Nico's perspective. You heard me, I say. The look on his face is priceless. His hair, right of curls, his cheeks are flushed, and his body is a canvas of perfect skin and muscle. He's spectacular. He's in my bed. You do that too? He checks. When I nod, he says, well, aren't you just full of fucking surprises? Turn around, princess. No, that's not something you're going to call me in bed. Just in public then? Not if you're fond of your balls. Turn around, I say firmer. This time he obeys, turning over onto his front and moving up onto his hands and knees. I shift down the bed so I'm behind him and I can take him from this angle. The strong corded muscle of his back, the arch and dip of his spine, slim waist and fucking perfect ass. Solid and smooth and... You have a tattoo, I say, looking at it. He wiggles his ass. Surprise! It's so fucking brash, so loud, so completely him that I can only chuckle. It's bright red lipstick kiss on his left butt cheek. Like it? He says, looking over his shoulder. I don't know. Bet you want to put your mouth right over it, though, don't you? He's right. I do. Leaning in, I grab him by the hips and plant my mouth over the tattoo, sucking hard before biting down. He lets out a small yelp, but it's with a gasp as I wrap my hand around his cock, well-proportioned and pretty as a picture, and kiss a path towards his hole. He's wholly shaved there, all smooth, soft skin that smells like sex and sweat, which threatens to undo me. Years I've dreamt of this, about having him like this. I dreamt about so many other things, which I'm sure would make him run for the hills. But this This had taken up a lot of my time. Felix's mouth, Felix's cock, Felix's ass. I planned to thoroughly enjoy all of these before letting him leave here. The instant my mouth touches his hole, he groans, shamelessly arching his back lower and pushing backwards into my face. I kiss him here like I kissed his mouth, deeply and thoroughly, and then soft and tender, sucking and licking and tasting every part of him I can reach, alternating between the two until he's reaching back to grab his cock. I move his hand out of the way and suck the head into my mouth instead, pulling it back between his legs so I can lick in long strokes from tip to taint to hole. He tastes sweet and salty, his skin flecked with goosebumps and perspiration. He's the hottest thing I've ever seen. Jesus fucking Christ, Savini, are you trying to kill me? Fuck. The desperation in his ruined voice is like an orchestra to my ears. How are you so good at that? He's no longer holding himself up on his hands. His head is on the pillow of his fingers and fist. Pull at my bed sheets. Good, I ask, breathing hard as I remove my mouth. You fucking know it. What even are you? He lifts his head to level a suspicious look at me. I grin and lower my head again. I'm not sure how long I eat him out for. Hours, days. But he's a wet and panting mess on my bed when I come up for air. Please tell me you're going to fuck me now. Please? Since you asked so nicely. I don't keep lube or condoms in the bedroom, so I have to get up and go to the bathroom. When I return, he's laying where I left him, face down, trembling on the bed. He lifts his head to look at me when I kneel behind him on the mattress. Are we actually going to do this, he says. I can't entirely figure out the tone, but his eyes are very serious, despite the apparent desire in them. Only if you want to. Only if I want to? That's not the dynamic I'm interested in, he says curtly. You know what I want. Yeah, I know what you meant. I skim a hand up the back of his thigh. I'd like to. Yeah, he says, me too. He sounds miserable about it, or at least very conflicted, which I understand. From hating my guts to wanting me inside him, it's quite a leap to make in a few short hours. I'm afraid of what else he might say, and since kissing him earlier was as great as I imagined, and also sure to stop him from talking, I move to the bed and do it again. I press him deep into the mattress and bury my tongue in his mouth. He submits as easily as he did before, wrapping his arms around me first before opening his legs and letting me between them. He likes being kissed. Felix Taylor Burks likes being kissed, roughly and intensely. I want to make it my mission to ensure I'm the one whose kiss he thinks of. When he's in Charlie's or Rufus's or Christian's arms, he's thinking of me. Well, a guy can dream. I slide my hand between our bodies to jerk him off slowly, lazily, before moving lower to circle his hole with my finger. He groans into my mouth and spreads his legs wider, his hand joining mine at his hole. He covers my fingers with his and uses my hand to fuck himself. Fuck me, he says, against my lips. Please put your dick in me before I lose my fucking mind. I move quickly before he starts thinking again, rolling the condom on first before squirting the lube over my hand. I rub my dick before lowering my mouth to his hole again, sloppy and brief before sliding two wet fingers into him. He gasps, mouth open in surprise before he nods. Yes, fucking hell, yes. I finger him as I squeeze the head of my dick, urging it to calm down. We've been doing this for over an hour now. I didn't know I had this amount of restraint in me. Felix on his back, legs spread, panting as I finger him, begging for it. For me, it's too much. It's not enough. I need to be inside him. I can't wait any longer, I tell him as I position myself at his hole. Do it. Fucking give it to me. I thrust inside and he yelps. Jesus, I groan. I don't want you to call me that in bed either, he says. When he meets my eyes, he smiles. No? What should I call you then? I pull out slow and easy before sliding back in again. He groans and digs his fingers into my arms. Perfect, beautiful, good boy. I'll answer to any of those. Smiling, I lean in to kiss him again. You're a fucking nightmare. As I begin to move, he bites my lips so hard I feel blood leak onto my tongue. Best fucking nightmare you've ever had, he laughs. I groan and speed up. He's not wrong. He feels incredible, warm and tight and perfect. I'm kissing and sucking his neck as he rides and pants and grips at my back. It's getting away from me. The moment, the sensation, and him, just him. I slow and lift my head and stare down into his face. His head is thrown back, but he lifts it and opens his eyes. Some look moves into them. One, I'm sure, can't be anything good before he says, "Turn me over. I want you to fuck me from behind." He turns himself over, arching his back like a cat, sticking his perfect ass in the air, spreading his knees slightly. For a moment, I can only stare at it. I'm staring so long, he reaches back and pulls one of his cheeks to spread his ass. "Do you like my boy pussy, Savini?" I can only blink, stunned. He moves his hips now, hips low, angling his ass up even more. Fucking hell, I'm fucked. I groan and dive towards his hole again, sucking and licking and fucking him with my tongue as I fist my dick. "I'll take that as a yes," he laughs sexily. "Now hurry up and fuck me." It's all the invitation I need. I position myself behind him and slide inside the warm, wet heaven of him. On a single slow moan, covering him, I hook my hand under his chin and twist his mouth towards mine, kissing him hard. "Choke me," he says. "What?" He raises his hand and places it over mine, and then positions it where he wants it, squeezing my fingers. "Choke me." I check his eyes for any indecision. He's serious, green eyes shimmering with lust. I slide out of his body slowly, gripping his throat just a little beneath the jaw and squeezing as I thrust back in. His eyes roll back and his expression dissolves into one of pure bliss. I fuck and choke and thrust and fuck, and soon it's all too much. He's insanely beautiful like this, whimpering and fucked out, loose and obliging. "Yes," he begs over and over. "Fuck, Nico, yes." There's no warning before I come, harder and more intense than I ever had. It's endless and loud, and I feel every inch of my body sparking with pure white pleasure. As my grip on his throat loosens, he collapses onto the mattress, me on top, and we lay there panting and breathing and stuck together. I'm not all the way soft inside him, and he circles his hips even as I flatten him with my weight, moaning gorgeously as he fucks himself on me. Christ, Savini. He called me Nico before, as he begged. He called me Nico. I liked it. I slide out of him and off him and move so that I'm lying on my back beside him. With his mouth open and eyes closed, he presses his face into the pillow. I think he's fallen asleep. He blinks open his eyes and gives me a contented, sleepy look. "You might be as good at fucking as you are at dancing." "You called me the best dancer in the world, so I'll take that as a compliment." "Did I?" He thinks about this. "No, I don't think I did." "Oh, you did. I remember something that huge. You misremember." "Okay, sure. Whatever helps you get through the moment."
Yeah, I mean, that was hot.
Delightful.
Yeah, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, and see, the reason I was like, but I want to was because it had like the rimming and the choking and then the banter.
Yeah.
The banter
Nightmare.
is like,
"Call me a nightmare."
yeah. Oh, look. And like their banter is fantastic throughout the whole thing. Like, and all throughout it, like Felix is constantly telling Nico that he hates him.
Yeah.
And it's like, yep. Love that for you guys. Love it. Princess Peach. Love it.
Princess
so
Peach.
Good.
Wonderful.
So yeah, that was Limerence.
Very fun. So
Good times.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'd read this. I don't see why not, honestly. Like
I
a
think
little
you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I like sarcastic shit too, which is very nice, and this really comes off that way. The intrigue is like kind of there, where I'm like, oh yeah, there's gonna be like the conflict of the shit they're doing behind closed doors is going to come back and bite them in the ass, sort of thing. I'm always kind of a fan of that. It is like predictable, maybe.
It wasn't.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe you explained it in a predictable manner, because I'm like, well, I know where this is going, so.
100%. Like I definitely drew attention to things, and like when you've read about Charlie and him giving the phone, like that scene is more focused on Felix taking care of Charlie.
Right, yeah.
And it does come across as a little strange that he would give up his phone, but like it's not even a thing that you would really think about.
Yeah, he seems like such a kind dude that's like obviously he would do that.
It's not, and I don't even know. Felix, yes. And like with Charlie too, it's like Charlie is so in love. Like Charlie is made out to be so in love with Felix. You would wonder why he would do something like that.
Jealousy.
Yeah. And but like why? Because how would he know about Christian? Because nobody knows about Christian.
Yep.
So it's obvious. It's not obvious until it is obvious.
Yeah.
But what I liked was there was slight conflict between Nico and Felix as a result of that. But it wasn't a thing that like carried on through, like they got through it together. Their conflict was like all through the beginning and like to that point. So you're not getting that like massive third act breakup that you would normally get in a lot of books like that.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
They do separate for a bit, but then like Nico, and I think this is too where you see Nico's therapy.
His therapy paying off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Because it's the like, take a minute and process your emotions before you explode on someone.
Yeah, and Nico's response, like, it's hard to get the gist of it from like somebody explaining it, but like Nico's response is like, why would I do that? Like, he doesn't get mad. The entire time Nico is more concerned about Felix and Felix's emotions than any of it. And like, you're not the only like truly shitty bad character in it is Felix's dad. He is a terror. You know, they do vote on whether or not Nico should come back and like all this stuff, and like it's not just like Nico being like, I'm gonna quit if you don't bring him back. They do put it to a vote, and I feel like Felix's dad votes no, but I can't recall accurately.
Because Felix's dad's on the board, is that my understanding?
Yeah, Felix's dad and Christian are both on the board.
Oof.
So
yep.
Yeah, which is another part of the problem too with like Felix and Christian sleeping together. But
obviously, yeah,
but I mean, even that, like the author takes such care to delineate between like the unhealthy perception of the situation and the actuality of the situation. Like, never at any point, once you kind of understand, did I feel like Christian was using Felix. I think they were both using each other, and they had...
No, I hear you. And the perception is that like when you say on paper, like, hey, this like 50-plus-year-old dude is fucking a 21-year-old. Like that brings up a level of perception with people. Because, I mean, obviously we're going to make some assumptions, but like when you sit and explain it and talk about their dynamic a little bit more, it's like they're both fulfilling a fantasy almost, and it's not like a loving thing. Like, it's not a, I don't know, it's like a fetish thing.
I think it is, but it's not.
Yeah,
yes.
And I don't know. I'm always so icky about it because I'm like, ugh, where's the line?
Yeah.
You know, where I'm like, you like dating young men, and I'm like, yeah, you do, but like, what's young?
Well, and like,
and is it the same? Because again, I always put it back towards like if the genders were reversed, sort of thing, or like if it was females instead of males.
Oh yeah, 100%. I also think too, like life experience and maturity also plays a huge factor in that. So like, Felix is in this like hyper driven state since he was like 13, and a lot more is required of him than, you know, the average kid. And then his dad's also an abusive ass. His mom dies.
He's like super mature for his age.
Well, yeah, he ends up going to Russia to perform in the ballet there, and it's when he comes home that he gets into this relationship with Christian. And like, Christian is in the closet and has been married to a woman his entire life, and like loves his wife and has a son Felix's age. And I think it's one of those things that I don't think it would have happened if Felix was anybody other than who Felix was. Like the fact that Felix went after what he wanted versus like Christian just going out and finding a young fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I can see how like the author kind of softballed it in to make it acceptable for the plot, and like I appreciate that. I really do. I don't know. It seemed like Christian did the right things, quote unquote, in that like setting the boundaries and like setting up the expectations correctly, and like everyone's on the same page about it. So in that regard, I'm like, okay, this is. And again, I want to hate Christian, but I just don't. So that's fine.
Well, and it's hard too when he turns around and is like, no, I'm ending this because you're in love with somebody else, but I'm also never going to leave you because I recognize that other people have done that to you in the past. And it's like, it sounds fucked up to say it this way, but it's almost like both Christian and Felix provided a safe and loving space for one another that they didn't get from people in their own existences that they needed. Like, and
it's a very healing thing sometimes when you have that experience and dynamic with somebody else.
You hate to say that Christian was the father figure that Felix wanted because he's fucking him in the end. But
yeah, that's definitely the vibe. Like, and I see,
yeah,
like it's almost a trope at that point where it's like, oh, you're fucking your father sort of thing. And like, I get that just makes obvious sense. Like, that's exactly what's kind of happening here. Like, that's daddy issues in and out of itself.
100%. But that at the same time, it goes beyond that and how much they actually care for each other versus like, we're just doing this to get our rocks off.
Yeah, that's the other part of it, of the daddy issues thing.
Yeah.
But you're actually getting loving, caring relationships from an older male figure out of it. So I'm like, this is weird, but it kind of works. So
but also
everyone
Christian,
go to therapy.
like,
Everyone go to therapy. That's fine.
everybody follow in Nico's footsteps, because
Yeah.
the thing is too is like you don't get it come across in like me telling you about it, but like Christian also can be very like daddy in that like wear your butt plug and show up for me kind of thing. So like
Yeah,
it's not
bossy
just
and yeah.
yeah, but like the soft dom wanting to care for somebody kind of like thing. It's very
It sounds
sexually
kind of wholesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
sexually
That's my vibe.
wholesome.
I'm getting the
Yeah.
wholesome vibe.
It's cute. I mean, really, at the end of the day, the reason that I picked this book was because the banter in it was so fucking good, and like the longing was good. I don't know. I just like the characters, and
You love
I
an
love
MM
this
romance too. You just
yes, like let's be real here. I love an MM romance, but like even beyond loving an MM romance, the characters in this just made me happy. And I hadn't read a book about ballet dancers or like dancers, I think, until I had read this book, which I thought was super fun because a lot of books are like sportsing,
sports ball.
hockey, sports ball. So super fun. Highly recommend you read it.
Who was the author again? Sorry.
Scarlett Drake.
And you said she has a couple other books in the series or in the universe?
One other book in the series so far that I know of, or that I was on Goodreads. It's called Hammeratia. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That one's delightful too. It does have cheating in it, which is not usually a thing that I like. But the rock star and the K-pop star, it was a good time. And like I said, Oleander was fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
like
them's the vibes.
Yeah, so good. I will definitely read more by this author. Another thing that I super liked about this book was she didn't like skimp on the ballet terminology. So I found myself like looking up different dances and different things just because I was curious, and I love to be educated on that stuff. So I thought that was fun.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I always love when there's like some authenticity in there, and it's like, oh, okay, you actually like did some research to write this book. Like, I appreciate
you knew
that.
what you were talking about.
Like enough for like me, a plebe, to like get it or feel impressed by it, I guess. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure a dancer reading that is just like, this is bullshit, but whatever. Okay, so let's rate this book. What do you think? Like, do we go rate it on butt plugs, or do you have something a little bit more pointed you'd like to talk about to rate it on?
Pirouettes.
Words.
Pirouettes is like a dance move.
A pirouette, yeah, it's like a spinny doodad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how many pirouettes do you think this is appropriate for?
Let's say 5 because I like that number.
5 is a good number. Okay, so how many pirouettes?
I also
out of
find
5?
it easier to rate things out of 5.
Go for it.
I hate rating things. I'm gonna rate it probably about 4.5 to 5 for sure.
I mean, based on your, that's the vibe I got for like how much you enjoyed it. So that seems reasonable.
Well, see, it's hard to rate it when you haven't read it.
Yes and no, because like, I mean, I know what I like. I know what I'm into.
Yeah, fair.
And like, I would probably rate it a 4. I'm going to say 4. Because like, even when you were reading some of it, you like some of the writing seemed a little stumbly. Like it seemed very wordy. And like,
yeah.
I like MM romance. I do, but some MM romance I'm just not into. This is like probably tiptoeing the line of that. I don't know. And then like I also, I mean, let's be fair here. I don't read normal books typically. So to have a book that's like ingrained in reality, typically I'm like not into that. But sometimes, but like I could be sold, obviously. Real world. Yeah, I mean, especially now with the world on fire and shit, I'm just like,
fair.
I could just take some, I don't know, dragons or fae.
There's no monsters fucking in this.
Yeah, there's no monsters fucking in this. I do appreciate how like into the sex they were, which is nice. You love to see that. Where he's like, you're gonna choke me and fuck me in the ass. Let's do this. Like, that is the level of aggression I kind of want in those sex scenes. So I'm like, that's cool with me. Like,
well, I mean, Felix is very sex positive too.
Yes, which I do really appreciate. So
also, I have to add, because I just was like glazing through my notes and I didn't say anything about this. Fen, their teacher, was once the best dancer, but then got pregnant with twins, which in this dance world means basically she had a double leg amputation, and Felix calls her kids her fuck trophies.
Oh my God. I mean, you're not wrong. Amazing. I might use that one in the future. That's a good one.
I thought you'd like that.
Oh, look at your little fuck trophies. So nice.
Oh, you won a thing for fucking.
Adorable. By not having kids, I won sleeping till noon, so I'll take that instead.
Yeah. Your sleeping trophies.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Ash. Very enlightening. And so next time we're back, I'm going to be telling you about 2 books by a lovely gal named Sylvia Morrow. We're going to be talking about stuffed and double stuffed. And I know I think you read the first book of this, maybe?
Yep.
Which is like a super short novella. But anyway, I'm going to enlighten you on the second book as well. Because I like the first book as like a lead up, because you kind of need to know the universe, what's going on here. And then the second book has like an actual story in it. So we're going to talk about that. They're available on the Kindle Unlimiteds if you're still supporting Amazon. I have physical copies, of course, because that's how I be. Yeah, Sylvia Morrow, Stuffed and Double Stuff. We'll talk about that next time. And thanks for joining us and sticking in there on the Queens of Spice podcast. And we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for listening to the Queens of Spice podcast. You'll find us on Instagram at Queens of Spice, or you can send us an email at queensofspice@gmail.com.